Taken me a long time to try the viral date bark, but I wanted to make it right before Ramadan so I can have a little. For day 3 of the Ramadan recipe series, we are turning.
Have you ever wondered why dates are a really important part?
Our neighbours are celebrating Ramadan, so we made them homemade dodol.
Ranginak is a delicious Persian date and walnut
caramelized banana and buttered date ice cream with olive oil and sea salt.
Salted date caramel using only 3 ingredients, and it takes less than 15 minutes to make. We're going to start by opening our dates, removing the pits, and also checking for bugs. I personally have never had.
Several months later.
Hey everyone, this is my series called Things I'd Have in My Bakery If I Wasn't Poor. Now in this series, I bake things that are food creations in my mind, and I take a few of my favorite flavors in my culture, in my life, or things that I've learned in pastry school, and I basically make things with it. And hopefully one day I'm able to have it in my own future bakery. Now, in today's episode, but before I get started, I like to say that a lot of the recipes I'm trying out are recipes that I'm testing out. So I don't really have clear instructions or recipe. It's just me playing out with flavors, and then hopefully one day when I refine them, I'll be able to either sell them in my own future bakery or post a recipe book. Right now, you're just going to sit with me as I test out different things. And for today's episode, we're going to be focusing on a Somali dessert called Buur. It's basically very similar to a donut or beignet, and I thought of this recipe during the time in Ramadan. A lot of the moments I was eating dates and I was eating a Buur, and I thought, what if I took a creme brulee donut and I made it into a date donut. Alright, so before we do anything, we have to make the dough. So here I have yeast, egg, milk. So I'm just putting the fat, the dairy, and the yeast together. Usually when you add fat and milk in a donut beignet recipe, it makes it really buttery and flavorful. And here I have flour, just basic flour, and I'm adding milk egg mixture with the yeast to the flour. Then I'm going to knead it. Right now I'm using a spatula to scrape the sides, but then I'm going to knead it and I'm going to let it rise. So it has to do the first rise. It rises twice. I just put it on top of my heater, really, just so it stays in one place. I waited about an hour and then I'll come back to it later. Now I'm going to make the cream filling. I learned this in a pastry school, actually. It's called pastry cream, or I don't know what the French name was, but it was just pastry cream. So 2 eggs, egg yolk. You heat up the milk with a little bit of the sugar, and then once the milk starts to boil, you take the cornstarch, mix it with the eggs, and then you temper it. So you're gonna see that process right now. So right now I'm adding the sugar to the milk. I'm gonna put it on the stove, let it heat up. I'm just putting like a little bit of the sugar, and then now I'm heating it up and making sure I'm always not scraping the bottom, make sure nothing sticks to the bottom because milk can cook. You don't want it to overcook. Now I kind of speeded it up right now because I had to do 2 times. So I added some of the egg mixture back into the milk, and then I added all of it together. Now in the egg, it was cornstarch and the vanilla, and once you add cornstarch to milk and eggs, it becomes really thick and it becomes a custard. So right now I wrapped it and I made sure I put plastic at the top of it so it doesn't create skin, and then I put it in the fridge. Now I'm adding butter to the already first rise dough. Just add more fat to it so it can taste really delicious, and then I'm just kneading it, and I kneaded it for quite a long time until it became a really soft dough but not too sticky on the hands. And then I'm going to let it rise again. I'm going to see if I can find the recipe that I followed it and put it down below, and then also write down the pastry cream recipe and of course the salted caramel recipe I got from Miriam on TikTok. I think that's her name. I have to go check, but I think that's her name. But amazing recipe. And then I'm gonna let this rise in a bowl, and then for an hour, and then I pop out all the air, and then again I put it in the fridge overnight because I'm not making it till the next night. I kind of like to let dough sit overnight. Now right now this is the next day, and I'm rolling out the dough to make the donuts. I don't really have a really good rolling pin, which is hilarious because I'm literally trained to be a pastry chef. This is all I got. So, and honestly, it didn't have a lot of tug because it's not like a bread dough. It's not fighting with me as much. It's not as much gluten as I don't know, as like a laminated dough would have. Because laminated dough would have butter and it's a lot of work. This is pretty simple. It was easy, really, really easy to roll out. Now I'm using cookie cutters to cut it. In between each cut, I roll it around in flour just so that it doesn't really get stuck. So now I'm making the salted caramel. But I deep pitted dates. I would use the dates that have like the sugary syrup next time. This one was kind of wasn't the best dates. I got from a grocery store. I did not get it from like a halal meat store, which I usually get it from. I just got it from a grocery store, and I would not get it again. But get your dates, make sure they're really good quality, and then soak them in hot water or coffee. Now I'm just frying some donuts. This is the ones that I couldn't cut out. These are the edges. I just wanted to see how they would fry in different temperatures. This one turned out really well. It really reminded me of Buur. It was really delicious and has a lot of air in the middle. It's quite soft. My mom loves it. She loved it with just tea. And yeah, I think the other ones I fried a little too dark, but these are the ones that are kind of like my testing, which you should always do when you're baking. Always have ones that you test. And these are my final donuts, which they puffed up really beautifully. And I usually put the parchment paper in. Now I'm taking the date and the water that it was in, and I added a lot of salt, and I'm just gonna magically blend it, and it becomes like a really soft paste. I have to add a lot more water than I thought, like a few times, just so that it can become smooth. And then I thought I added too much water, so I put it back on the stove to make it more sticky. We're testing things out. So this is the ones I tested out, and then these are the perfect ones. You can tell the different temperatures. And I think the donuts turn out pretty good. I didn't want them to be too big, too small, and seeing as this is the first time I'm ever making um, donuts kind of Buur. They turned out really well, and now I'm just gonna poke a hole using my chopstick so that I can fill them pretty easily. Yeah, you have to do a really big hole than you think, because whenever I end up filling things, I always have to go back and put a bigger hole in them because a pastry bag has to fit into it, and then you have to squeeze in cream. And yeah, this is me putting holes into all the donuts, making sure there's enough room for the cream. And then I took the pastry cream I made the day before, yesterday, not the day before, but yesterday, and I just whipped it with a whisk, and I put it in a pastry bag. Now I'm just filling them all up. I fill them to the brim. You don't have to do as much as I did, but I just really like pastry cream and vanilla, and it's delicious. And now I don't know why I thought I can dip the donuts, the Buur filled donuts, in the salted caramel, because it's not like chocolate. You have to use a spatula, which I end up doing, and which is a lot better technique than dipping it. Chocolate, which I have right next to the next bowl, I have just plain dark chocolate. I wanted to see the difference in flavor and if it tasted better than the dates, because I you would think I would like dates, but I don't really like them unless they're the really sweet ones, which people hate. Syrupy ones, I love those, but just plain dates are not my favorite. And now I'm doing like chocolate, which dipped a lot better, of course, because it has cocoa butter in it. And yeah, I think these turned out really well. I wish I had someone to share it with. It was just me and my mom. We were having a great time. But yeah, there's nothing much I can say to this. I'm gonna taste it soon, but right now I'm just frosting everything and making sure everything's filled. They turn out really pretty. Like, this is the best donut for someone who doesn't make donuts, for someone who doesn't make filled things, for someone who has never even made a Buur, a Somali typical Buur. I thought it turned out really well. My mom was shocked, I was shocked, and I was quite proud of my product at the end. All right, so here is the try to make a date version of a Boston cream. I don't really like dates here in this country. I feel like the ones I bought from the grocery store kind of taste weird. I saw on TikTok, if you make them with water and then you add salt and you blend them, it becomes a caramel, but I don't like the way it tastes. So let's see if it tastes good. First, so I put the caramel date thing on top, and I filled it with cream. I'm gonna cut it in half. Ooh-wee. So this is how it looks. I don't know if you can focus. Pastry cream. Now let's see if the date goes well with the pastry cream. So Ooh. You know what? You know what? This is eaten. Hold on. I don't like it by itself.
Ah, the saltiness. Oh yeah. Can you taste this? Can you taste this? Sweet, no, right? Is it good? Do you like this?
Very good.
It's date. You know what? I'm professional!
Approved!
This is delicious. Wow, I didn't know. It didn't taste good by itself, but... So, a date Boston cream. That's gonna be in my bakery, I promise you that. And then just look how much cream is in there. Oh, it's really... Oh, no. Yeah. This is it. I might tweak it a little bit, but the flavors work well together. The saltiness? Anyways. Peace out. Hey, turn.